Right, that's me done. Almost done a whole hour, so time to call it a day. Oh. Hello. What have I got on today? Loads. Absolutely loads. No, I couldn't take on any more work. Not today. I've got such busy plans for this afternoon you just wouldn't believe. Word to you, Mother. My name's Steve. This channel is Fragrance Riches, and thanks for tuning in. It's appreciated. I say it every time, but I do mean it. Anyway, today I am looking at a niche house that was launched in 2018 and launched in the UK in 2019. And they seem to get loads of hype across YouTube when they first launched because they sent out loads of bottles and everybody was reviewing them, and they pretty much got very positive feedback. So today I'm going to give you my thoughts on two of their fragrances, and that house is Kierin NYC. The first fragrance is a fragrance that I featured in my top 10 fragrances for spring, and I still stand by that because it is a very good fragrance. It's very easy to wear during the springtime because it's such a relaxing, chilled out, quite fresh fragrance. And that fragrance I'm talking about is Sunday Brunch. So the notes on this one, at the top there's bergamot and lemon, and there's also Earl Grey tea. That's pretty much it. It's the only notes listed, and that's what you get from the fragrance, to be honest. It starts with a very kind of fresh burst, but you get that tea straight away, and the tea note remains kind of prominent. The citrusiness does dissipate a little bit after probably the first 30 to 60 minutes, but does remain. It just kind of loses some intensity, but the tea note, the Earl Grey tea, remains throughout the whole life of the fragrance, and it's definitely the most prominent note. And so this fragrance is definitely for people that enjoy tea-based accords in their fragrances. So this was a blind buy for me. The reason being that I was just totally intrigued by the house of Kierin NYC. I love the fact that you can get a niche fragrance for about between 50 and 60 pounds in the UK, which I think's like brilliant. And I just love their value proposition. And I also love the styling. I know it's not about the styling, it's about the bottles, about the juice that's inside the bottle. But I do kind of love what they've done there with the kind of retro detailing that's kind of retro yet modern, and with white bottles. And it's just a kind of cool brand. I just love the fact what they're doing with these unisex fragrances. So this was the one that I blind bought. The reason being, I don't own any other tea-based fragrances, so this was my first, and I love the sound of this one, this kind of chilled, fresh vibe, and it got a lot of positive feedback. So when I first received this and I smelt it, the first thing I thought was, yeah, that's really nice. And I stand by that. It's a really nice fragrance. It's very easy to wear. As I say, it's a very chilled out fragrance, so the name Sunday Brunch suits it well, because you could wear this in an office because it's totally inoffensive, but conversely, for me, this fragrance isn't like a fragrance that makes you feel powerful or confident or attractive, and it's not even like a fragrance that makes you feel, it's not a clean fragrance in the sense that if you want to just feel clean and fresh, it's maybe something that you'd wear. It is a fragrance that you would wear literally just chilling out, going for Sunday brunch or chilling out around the house, just kind of in your slacks, kind of, you know, no pressure, no jobs to do, just, it's that sort of fragrance. And it is very easy to wear, and I do really like this. It's very well blended and it's a very nice fragrance. And performance is pretty good. It's neither under or overwhelming, to be honest. I got about 1 to 2 hours of projection, and it lasted for about 6, maybe 7 hours, but it was sort of very sort of light towards the end of that. So again, for a sort of fresher type fragrance, its performance is pretty good. So the only thing is that I would say about this fragrance is, as I touched upon already, it's not one that evokes much emotion from me. Like, I love it when fragrances make me feel like really good, be it if they make me just feel really manly and confident, or just really kind of sexy and attractive, or if I just know I'm wearing a fragrance that people are kind of thinking, oh, he smells good, or, you know, a kind of dominant fragrance, or strong or alluring, and this isn't it. It is literally just a fragrance to kind of wear chilling out around the house. And I think for those times I'd probably kind of go for something that's kind of cleaner and fresher. And I think, as I say, I would highly recommend this for tea lovers. If you love the note of tea in fragrances, definitely get this, because it is so well blended, it's really good quality, and it does smell good. But this is my first tea-based fragrance, and I don't think I would get any more, because I've sort of realised that the accord of tea probably just isn't one for me. It's just, I like it, it's nice, but I don't know if I want to smell of it. Like I say, it just doesn't evoke emotion out of me. So that's where I am with this fragrance. So I would highly recommend it, especially for tea lovers, and especially for the price. It's a great value proposition, but I don't think I'd recommend it for me. The next fragrance I want to talk about is Santal Sky. So I've been testing it from a sample that was very kindly sent to me from one of my Instagram followers called Marky Fraghead. So he commented on one of my Sunday brunch photos on my Instagram, said he tried this but it wasn't for him. I said, oh, it's another one that I want to try, and he said, oh, I'll send you the sample because I'm not going to get any use out of it. So really appreciate that. Thanks for sending this on, mate, much appreciated. So when this first arrived, I kind of did one spray on my arm just out of curiosity, and I kind of got the wife to smell it. Now, I was a bit taken aback by the sheer kind of intensity of the opening, actually, because it opens up a very kind of like a real sort of strong, spicy sandalwood. The sandalwood is very strong and almost feels almost animalic. It's with the spice. It's very kind of full on in the opening. So the notes are cardamom, vetiver, sandalwood and saffron. So as I say, the opening is very spicy, and the wife didn't particularly enjoy the opening either. But it does dry down and dissipate. That spice kind of does remain, but it does kind of dissipate and settle. And then you're left with a very, very smooth, kind of light, attractive, clean kind of fragrance that's got like a little bit of spice to it. So it's a really kind of nice fragrance. I've worn this for a few days, and I really like this fragrance. I really like to smell of it, but what I will say is I don't like it on me. I can't rock this fragrance, and the reason is, for me, this is unisex, but for me this comes across as a bit too feminine on my skin. And I think the reason being is once it kind of dries down, as I say, the spice kind of dissipates slightly. The sandalwood and the vetiver is a very kind of smooth, sophisticated kind of backbone, but then the saffron kind of, as it dries down, sort of turns into a sort of, it has an accord of a kind of sweet floral kind of accord, which kind of makes sense as saffron is essentially kind of, you know, dried flowers. But yeah, it comes across as a sort of sweet floral accord, and it's not like sickly sweet, it's not full on sweet, it's a very pleasant sweetness, but it's, for me, that sort of sweet floral vibe is just a bit too feminine on my skin, which is a shame, because I do genuinely really like this fragrance. I'd like to smell it on my wife, and I think this would work really well on a woman in the workplace. That's where I see this fragrance fitting really well, and the reason being is it is a very smooth, sophisticated fragrance that's very classy, it's very well blended, and it has a nice feminine vibe to it, to my nose. As I say, it is unisex, so I'm sure there's lots of men that will wear this and enjoy it, and I'm not saying you shouldn't or can't. But to me, I think this would work best, personally. I would enjoy this most smelling it on a woman in the workplace, because it's got this smooth sophistication that is quite sort of powerful in many ways, yet the saffron, given that slightly sweet floral vibe, gives it this slight feminine touch without being girly or sickly sweet or cheap or kind of. So a woman in the workplace rocking this would come across as powerful, successful, sophisticated, feminine, but without being girly or anything like that would undermine any of that sort of status that she may hold in the workplace. So I love this fragrance. And I'd love to smell it on, as I say, my wife and female colleagues, but I just don't love it on me. Performance is pretty good, similar to Sunday Brunch, to be honest. It's kind of 1 to 2 hours. I would say this probably lasted a bit more, like maybe 5 to 6 hours rather than the sort of six to 7 I got from Sunday Brunch. But yeah, it's a real shame because I really enjoy this fragrance and I would wholeheartedly recommend it again, but just not to me. If you're a woman looking for a fragrance to wear in the workplace, I would highly recommend this. And I would love it if you work next to me, because I would totally compliment you and ask you what you're wearing, because I think this smells good. So there you go, Kierin NYC is a funny house for me so far. I would totally recommend their fragrances. I really enjoy the quality and the value proposition, but unfortunately I can only recommend them to sort of specific groups of people that aren't me, which is annoying because I'm selfish. I want the stuff for me, mate. But yeah, Sunday Brunch is great if you love the note of tea or if you're looking for a very relaxed, chilled out type of fragrance. And Santal Sky is a great sort of clean, sophisticated yet feminine kind of fragrance, to me anyway, that would work great in the workplace for a woman, I think personally. But as I say, whatever rocks your boat, you know, gender stuff is irrelevant really with fragrances, just wear what you enjoy. So I have not given up on the House of Kierin NYC. I still love the value proposition and I still want to explore more of the range to see if there's any others that I can find a pick of the bunch that works really well for me. So I will continue to sample the rest of the fragrances, so stay tuned to the channel, I might report back some more. Thank you for watching, I do appreciate it. If you got anything out of this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. That would go down well with me. And also, if you haven't already done so, I'd love it if you subscribe, but don't feel obliged, I'm not going to force you, it's a free world, mate, do what you want, you're an adult, well you should be anyway. Thanks again, and I will see you for the next video, take care, much love.